Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/Am I overreacting? Am I overreacting for telling my mom she's exaggerating about my sister's epileptic seizures? I don't know how to say this, but I'm embarrassed by how my mom acts when my sister has a seizure. The last time we went out to eat, and when Hygh, my sister, started shaking, my mom told my sister to lie down on the damn floor. Then she put her jacket under her head like a pillow and started stroking her head, talking to her like a baby, telling her, "My love, everything will be alright, sweetie, get out of there soon." Hygh stopped trembling, and I was very embarrassed at that moment. And then Hygh started coughing. My mom looked at her for a while, and then came the worst part. With her fingers, my mom cleared the phlegm from Hygh's mouth and helped her cough and turn to the side. It was so disgusting I couldn't even watch. Then, after she cleaned her up, she said, "Thank you for staying with me. I love you, daughter. I love you. Thank you for staying." She hugged her, and Hygh just had a lost look. And I told my mom to stop doing that because it embarrassed me. She always says the same thing to her whenever she comes out of a seizure. I'm fed up and embarrassed. And she scolded me and told me to leave her alone because I didn't know what it meant to her. It's the same for me. I hate that my mom is so dramatic. Am I wrong? I'm going to say this in the kindest way that I possibly can. Fucking get over yourself. Wow, my sister's having a seizure and the moment's not about me, and it's embarrassing that she has to have medical care given to her and she needs to be treated while she's having a seizure. Wow, I'm so embarrassed that my sister's having a seizure and my mom's helping her. Wow. That's what you sound like. Grow the fuck up and learn reality doesn't revolve around you. Jesus Christ. Your mom is right to be concerned and to try to help her daughter, because every time she has a seizure, it's a dice roll on whether or not she will actually open her eyes one more time and continue to exist. But for you, oh my god, it's so embarrassing! I am mortified by the idea of what might happen if your sister has a seizure alone with you. You'd probably just fucking let her die, wouldn't you? Oh, 'cause it's so embarrassing. You sound deeply unpleasant to be around, and the fact alone that you're more concerned with how strangers might see you, someone who you'll almost guaranteed never see again, than your actual sister's well-being speaks volumes as to where your priorities are, and I really hope you grow the fuck up. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to let certain kids into the graduation walk photos at the elementary school where I work? I, 45 female, work for my kid's school district, I guess our school district, as a photographer and social media manager. Part of my job every year is being one of the photographers for the grand walk events where graduating seniors from the district's high schools go back through their old middle and elementary schools in caps and gowns, while the students at those schools cheer for them. It's really sweet. This year was especially personal because my own son is graduating from the district high school, and I had been assigned to manage his graduation walk at his elementary school. I realized when the seniors arrived at the school and were standing outside and getting ready to walk in, there were also a handful of students, still in the same graduating year, there who used to go there too, but who transferred out of district years ago to other schools. A few moved away and transferred because their families relocated, which I understand, but others voluntarily left the district for high school alone. Some went to a private Catholic school nearby. Others went to a neighboring district school that a lot of local families send their kids to because it's considered nicer and cleaner. And honestly, a lot of people from one of the bigger churches send their kids there because they think our district's main high school is beneath them. It genuinely irritates me. The whole point of the grad walk is celebrating the students who stayed and graduated from our district, not those who went to other schools because they were nicer. The kids who left made a choice not to continue here. Therefore, I believe should not be welcome to walk through their old stomping grounds. Meanwhile, the other students who stayed stuck it out all 4 years, supported our district, participated in the programs, sports, clubs, etc. They didn't leave for some nice school in another district. When it came time for the walk into the elementary school, I told the kids who went to other high schools that the district graduation walk photos were for district graduates only, and told them they couldn't go inside. They got upset and argued that they still went to the elementary school for years and wanted some photos with their old teachers. One girl started crying, which I mean, really? Cut the dramatics. She chose to go to the nicer school. Another said I was gatekeeping an elementary school. I told them off and let all of our graduates go in for the walk. Later, one of my coworkers pulled me aside and told me I was being unnecessarily petty in making the event about my personal feelings regarding the neighboring schools. I still feel like I was upholding our district instead of letting it become a free-for-all reunion, but my husband says I embarrassed teenagers over something that ultimately did not matter, and that the elementary school memories belong to them too. But I feel those kids who went to other districts voluntarily don't deserve to be included. Am I the asshole? Hey, in what reality do you live in where a high schooler has full control and carte blanche over what high school they go to? Do you really think that they're the ones who decided to go to that high school? Like, hey mom, I know it may not be in our cards, but I want to go to this private high school. No, the parents decided to do that. Like, to me, it sounds like you're envious. It sounds like you're jealous of the fact that you couldn't have your own child go to those schools. So now you've let something as mundane as a school district be the hill you're going to die on, rather than letting high schools revisit old memories from when they were growing up and re-experience memories that were probably very fond of them and speak to teachers who may have had a lasting impact in their lives. Not only did you bully a bunch of high schoolers, but on top of that, you also embarrassed your child and potentially ruined his graduation because now everyone's just going to see him as, oh, hey, isn't your mom the one that just wouldn't allow us to actually go and visit our old schools and stomping grounds and hang out with you guys because our parents made us switch schools? Yeah, your mom sounds awesome. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for wanting to show up to my daughter's secret proposal while uninvited by her fiancé? My daughter and her boyfriend have been in a relationship for 2.5 years, and her boyfriend asked me for his blessing last week to marry my daughter. He recently called me on the phone and indirectly asked me if I could please not show up to their proposal. I am conflicted on deciding whether or not to show up to their proposal. I'm a single mother to her as her father died when she was 2 years old, so I've been a widowed parent to her for 21 years and a parent in general to her for 23 years. I feel that being a single parent holds more of an impact when it comes to my presence at her proposal because if I don't show up, no parent of hers will. I can't discuss this decision with my daughter yet because it would spoil the surprise of her engagement. I know that she would want me to be there for her proposal, but I know it's her fiancé's proposal as well, and I don't want to disrespect his wishes. I don't know if it would be wrong of me to show up for my daughter's proposal, even though I'm technically uninvited. I feel that I should show up for my daughter because I'm an important person to her, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of event. But I don't know if it's a selfish decision of me to show up uninvited. Okay, I know that you mean well, but don't do this. This is your daughter's moment. Not every proposal is going to have a bunch of people surrounding it. Maybe they want it to be just an intimate setting of the two of them. Maybe they want it to just be an experience the two of them share together. What you need to do is once your daughter is proposed to and she tells you, then you be excited with her. That's when you be the mother that you want to be by her side. You don't want to potentially interrupt the proposal or be there when you're not wanted to be there and cause tensions to rise. Unless your daughter has specifically told you at any point in her life that she really wants you there, don't be there. Don't make their engagement about you. This isn't about you. This is about your daughter and her future fiancé. The comments have echoed a very similar sentiment, so I definitely hope that you understand now that it is a selfish decision for you to show up uninvited. Yes, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event, but also, this is a once-in-a-lifetime event for your daughter. Do you really want to accidentally ruin it? Or accidentally taint that memory? Cross-posted from r/relationship advice. My husband, 38 male, opened up to me, 39 female, about feeling overwhelmed at work, and he's upset with me for how I responded. My husband, 38 male, and I, 39 female, have been married for 6 years and have a 3-year-old son. We both work full-time and live comfortably within our means. We have a house in the suburbs with a nice yard, a dog, we're healthy, we really don't have much to complain about. But over the past few months, I've noticed a big change in my husband's behavior, and not for the better. He's been very moody and doesn't seem to take joy in anything at all lately. This time frame does coincide with a coworker of his being fired. My husband is a service tech for a technology company, and this is the busiest time of year for them. His coworker that got fired was the only other service tech that they had. They are in the process of hiring some help, but my husband has been on his own since mid-January. He's not the type to reach out and ask for help, but I can tell the stress is getting to him. I've suggested many times that he look into finding someone to talk to, like a therapist. I've been in therapy for 3 years for my own issues, and I've gotten a lot of help out of it. He always makes excuses about how he doesn't have time to do that sort of thing right now. But I remind him that if he did virtual therapy like I do, then it's a lot easier to find time to do it. He said it's not that easy because I work from home, so I can just take an hour to do it. But it's not the same for him since he has to work in the office. But finally last week, he sent me a long text one morning saying that he's struggling and feels like he's drowning at work. I told him that I've noticed a difference in his behavior at home and that I want to see positive change out of him. I told him he needs to talk with his boss to find ways to ease his workload and take some pressure off of him, but that he also needs to seriously look into finding someone else to talk to because I'm not sure how to best support him right now. He pretty much immediately sent a text back telling me that the last thing he wanted to hear was more things that he needs to do. He said he has a month worth of work backed up already, and the last thing he needs is another task to do. He texted that this is exactly why he doesn't open up to me about things, because I never do anything to actually help him, and just tell him what I think he needs to do. I apologized right away, but he didn't respond. That afternoon, our son ended up getting sick at daycare and had to come home early, so I didn't really get a chance to talk to my husband about it again. Then, the next day, I left for a weekend away, so I didn't really talk to him again until last night. I finally asked him how he's doing, and he told me that if I don't know how to support him after over 10 years together, and can only think of telling him what to do, then he doesn't know what else to say. I hope for your sake that weekend away was work-related and not a vacation, because if it was a vacation, your husband deserves better than you. Responses like yours are why guys have a hard time actually opening up and trying to talk about their feelings, because there's an expectation they just bottle that shit in and don't actually talk about it. And when he actually tried to talk to his spouse, the person who's been there for him for 10 years, or supposedly anyways, he gets a response of, "Yeah, I can tell that you're definitely stressed out. It's pretty obvious. You need to work on that and fix it." But it also sounds like this is a scenario where therapy isn't actually the solution here. He's overworked and stressed out. He's having way too much put onto his plate. And it sounds like you're only putting more onto his plate and then taking a weekend away. This comment from M. Fruitfly from r/relationship advice just puts it right on the nose. So I think I'm more of a problem solver and straight shooter, but you come off both in this post and the few comments like you aren't sure how human emotions work. Yes, therapy and talking to his boss are the clear ways forward, but you really couldn't grasp a single emotional response before telling him to talk to other people and leave you out of it? I really appreciate you telling me what's been going on. I noticed behavior changes and that you were stressed. I'm so sorry that you feel so overwhelmed. Do you want to talk more about it tonight? Is there something I can do for you now? And then, after you give him just general validation that you hear him, you are here for him, and you are his partner, then you can offer advice. If my partner tells me his arm hurts, I don't say, "I am not equipped to deal with this, go to the doctor." I ask him where it hurts, for how long, does he want ice, does he need to sit down, and then I tell him to go to the doctor. And you did have opportunities to speak with him, you just didn't think he mattered enough to make the time. It doesn't matter that you had a trip planned on the calendar months in advance, I'm guessing that's context from the comments. You have a sick child that should come first, and a husband who is telling you he isn't okay. I'm frankly shocked you even allowed your sick child to come home early because That wasn't on the calendar. And so I'm surprised you allowed his illness to disrupt your very precise life. And if what I just said hurts your feelings, realize that is the vibe you are giving off. That things should proceed in an order, that emotions are not yours to deal with, and every issue has a logical resolution, and most of them don't require your time. That's what you told your husband plain as day when he opened up to you. Also, that is 100% something that did not cross my mind, is that you took your sick son home from school, and then you left on a trip vacation, leaving your husband with one more thing to have on his plate? Damn. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for not going to a preschool class concert that my partner is a teaching assistant for? I, 20-some male, was adamantly against going to my girlfriend's, 20-some female, job for a preschool concert she was helping set up for. We do not have kids, nor are any of these kids related to us. She really does enjoy the time she spends with these kids and loves seeing them grow up. She loves telling me about them, and I enjoy hearing some of the funny stories and workplace drama. Despite it not being her career choice, she takes great pride in being a part of their foundational years of learning how to be babbling troublemakers. I love this for her. But this is where the problem comes in. While helping her get ready, ironing her clothes, making food, finding an outfit, my girlfriend asked me if I wanted to go to the kids' concert, where I shared an abundant lack of interest. At first, she wasn't too bothered by it, but a while later she brought up that it was gonna be live-streamed, and she wanted me to watch it. I again told her that I wasn't interested, and that seemed to bother her a bit more. Come later, she's back from the show and is clearly tired. She was telling me about how exhausted she was and mentioned that she wanted to pull the video up and watch it to see if she was in frame, etc., etc. This is when I said, you could totally do that, but know that I don't really care about the concert. I know, definitely brash and rude. This obviously upset her, and she brought up how it hurt her that I didn't go. She then says that her parents were there. Curious about why I wasn't there. I had no idea they were there to begin with. She says her reason for being upset is that if I don't care about going, then I must not care when she talks about her day at work with the kids. Extrapolating that if I listen to her talk about her kids' day-to-day at work, but don't want to go to this one concert, then my interest must just be to appease her. To be frank, I do care about her and her day. I just don't care to go to a concert at her job where the kids aren't gonna remember it. And we have zero relationship to said kids. I spent years in band and didn't care about my parents being there or not. And I was the one playing. Am I the asshole for not wanting to go to a preschool concert my girlfriend is going to because it's her job? So below it says update, and the update is longer than the post. So let's find out if this is A, an apology and OP realizing that he fucked up, B, doubling down, or C, some kind of excuse bringing in, I don't know, autism, ADHD, OCD, and therefore it's okay that he's not interested. Maybe we'll be lucky and it's all of the above. I can only see the first paragraph right now, but I don't have high hopes. For anyone who cares, I think pretty highly of myself. Shit. Oh boy. For anyone who cares, I think pretty highly of myself for the most part, so I do my best to always stay informed and avoid being naive and overconfident. That being said, I read a lot of your comments and was genuinely surprised to see how unanimously everyone thought I was the asshole. I really actually thought I wasn't crazy for not wanting to go, so seeing everyone disagree really confused me. Even though it's super late, I took the time to sit down and talk with my girlfriend to understand why she was upset. I felt genuinely, actually horrible at the prospect of hurting her because I couldn't understand why I needed to see some kids sing. As all of you astutely pointed out, it was never about seeing the kids, it was about seeing her and her kids at work. The kids don't matter in a vacuum, but in reality, these are who she interacts with 40 hours a week. These kids are who she teaches, corrals, and comforts. There was a very clear cognitive disconnect between what I was understanding and what she wanted. I know she works with kids, so I hear preschool concert and think work. Meanwhile, she's at work for the concert and sees her children, her little ones to protect, the little friends she helps expose to the world. I care so much about my pretty baby that I couldn't see anything past her. I have, clinically diagnosed, OCD, and my time is something, fuck. God damn it. And my time is something I obsess over, so it's, God fucking damn it. So it seems all I was seeing was time wasted watching kids sing, not memories made watching my darling nurture her little ones into a not-so-kind world, which really is obnoxiously selfish in hindsight. Likewise, something I didn't clarify well was that when I said, "You can totally do that, but know that I don't really care about the concert," I would have loved to see the highlights of her on screen or the kids acting up during the program. I just didn't want to watch the whole thing. I get so obsessed over my time, I spend a lot of time in task paralysis. The thought of watching something I'm not interested in feels like sandpaper on my very ADHD and OCD brain. Needless to say, from above, I took the time to not just apologize but seek and understand her. She put it so beautifully in a little analogy. She more or less said, "It's like I work at a garden. I show you all the pictures I take of my plants. I share all the stories about choosing different arrangements, but still wanting you to come by to the garden with me to smell the flowers. Thank you all for ever so harshly letting me know I made a mistake. I'd still rather die 1,000 deaths than watch those gremlins sing in front of me. But it eats at me knowing how selfishly I hurt my baby." With BB instead of baby. The moment that she brought up the live stream as an attempted compromise for you not going but still being able to see her work, it should have clicked in your mind that, oh, this means a lot to her. These are her kids, they're doing a recital, and she wants me to see what she's been working on. Somehow it took a lot of strangers on Reddit to inform me of the fact that this is important to your girlfriend, and on top of that, when she came home, you kinda just further swung for the shins with the aluminum bat of just being like, yeah, I don't really give a shit, but sure, you could pull it up. Also, on the internet, by the way, never start out a paragraph with, "For anyone who cares, I think pretty highly of myself for the most part." That does not do you any justice or lift any favors for you. It actually just makes everyone read the next couple paragraphs with nothing but disdain. Now, the thing is, when it comes to that, being very particular about how you spend your time and obsessive over it, I get that. I'm like that too. And it's something that I'm actively trying to break, because for me, my brain would rather do something that's a solid 5 out of 10 than take the risk on something that could very well be a 9 or a 10 out of 10, but it also has the chance of being the worst night possible, or the worst night imaginable, or even just slightly worse than 5 out of 10. And because of that, my brain will actively do everything in its power to convince me to stay with the status quo instead of taking a risk. There's a comment from Mandatory Panda 9317 on the r/AmITheDevil post. Super glad he understood, but man, I hate having to hear other people's pet names. My pretty baby took me out. Then the cross poster, the Agony Knot, responds further. I'm not really sure he did get it though, because even in his most recent comments, less than an hour old, he's still doubling down about how much he doesn't care to hear the kids sing, despite so many people pointing out that's not the issue. The quote was misleading too. I meant I didn't care about the kids and watching their 30-minute it's only 30 minutes? 30-minute concert. I completely failed to specify I would be interested in seeing her in the highlight reel from the program as a whole. I just really hate leaving the house and couldn't imagine why anyone would want to watch 4-year-olds when they don't know sing, LOL. Yeah, that's on me, especially the miscommunication. I care about her. Her part in her work and her anecdotes with the little ones, I still don't give a fuck about them kids singing though. I'd still rather die 1,000 deaths than watch those gremlins sing out of time, but it eats at me knowing how selfishly I hurt my baby. And he makes a point to point out that she only shows up for him about superficial necessities, while he shows up for her emotionally. Yeah, we definitely show that we care for each other. Honestly, she shows up more for me regarding superficial necessities like responsibilities, and I'm there more emotionally. This is one of those instances where I didn't realize this was an emotional bid. To which Purposely Blank responds further. He also says in a comment that he does so much for her now while he's out of work, like clean and You don't have work? Buddy, half my argument for you was that you had a long day. He also says in a comment that he does so much for her now while he's out of work, like clean and cook. No matter how much it pisses me off that she doesn't chip in to help cook/clean, I stop what I'm doing and delay plans to make food, so I'm sure I know she's fed. I take early nights so that we can go to bed together, and she can sleep comfy to be well rested for the long workday ahead of her. And that he moved so she wouldn't have to be in a long-distance relationship. This guy sucks. He thinks he's a catch and a half, but that chip on his shoulder and the "look at everything I do for you" shit is something that would make me keep an eye out for my sister or friend or daughter if she were in a relationship with him. Also, the cherry on top is their username is Big Daddy followed by numbers. Buddy, you better be a BioShock fan because if not, whew. Also, while I do have the motto of it's okay to explain, just don't excuse when it comes to bringing up either mental health or what you're going through, this instance, while it does feel like he's explaining, it still somehow feels as though he's excusing it, or on top of that, there's no sincerity to it. It's just, well, I have OCD, so it makes me do this. I would never want to hurt my baby. It doesn't come across as genuine, and I think the nail in the coffin that's finally swung and beat down is the fact that even in the comments, he doesn't seem to understand that no one's going to blame him for not wanting to go to a preschool concert of a bunch of kids singing out of tune. The whole reason for you to go is to be supportive for your girlfriend who was there for the kids and who pretty much was the foundational bedrock for them. And also show her parents that you actually care about her. That's just another fun cherry on top. And by the way, yes, they will remember their preschool concerts. I remember mine. My preschool made me sing in front of the old folks' home. They would gather us up as a class and we would all sing in front of them. And I very much remember those because that was when I learned that I loved cranberry juice, because the old folks' home had a cranberry juice dispenser and we could choose between apple, grape, and all those. But I saw cranberry juice, and my 4-year-old brain, in the same way that a 4-year-old collects all the colors of the same toy, was like, oh, I haven't had this color before. But it was bitter, but then it was sweet, and it was flawless, it was perfect. And to this day, I still love cranberry juice. Speaking of which, there is actually a gamer subs flavor that's like cranberry juice. It's cranberry copium. I know I usually say this in the outro, but just putting that in there real quick. If you like cranberry juice, gamer subs has a cranberry copium flavor. It's pretty good. Use code KEYZ at checkout. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole relationships. Am I the asshole? I, 34 male, think my girlfriend, 39 female, will break up with me. Am I the asshole for setting a boundary? Is the relationship over? We had an argument about something stupid I did. I messed up and I apologized, but she raised her voice and threw stuff in my face, figuratively. That is a no-go for me. So I tried to set the boundary of us not doing that to each other. We should try to take a few minutes, or hours, or days, instead of having an argument with yelling and heat. We had maybe 2 serious discussions in 8 months of dating, and the yelling and throwing stuff, only happened in the last one, so I had to bring it up a few days after it happened. I had to set the boundary. This conversation, which happened yesterday, was great, civilized, and peaceful. But now she's saying she's unsure, that it felt like an ultimatum, that she might not be able to do that, and that she's having lots of questions about us being together. I really love her, and she's the best person I have ever been involved with. I can't undo the boundary out of self-respect. What's your advice as to how to address this? I feel like she's going to break up with me. Individual Plan 5593, who cross-posted this to r/AmITheDevil, from his reply, I don't want to give out too much information, but it has to do with money. She never asked me to pay for gas, I don't drive, but I was cheap and asked for half of some Uber rides we took. So his boundary is she can't point out when he's being a hypocrite. 7 Umbrellas responds, I think his boundary is literally, you can't bring up my past behavior in an argument about my present behavior, which is absurd. There's a meaningful distinction between, I don't want to split the cost of this Uber, and I don't want to split the cost of this Uber because when I drive, you don't split the cost of gas, and that feels unfair. If his girlfriend actually accepted his ultimatum, how is she supposed to have any productive conversation with him about patterns of behavior? She can't. And that's what he wants. He wants to paint her as unreasonable because it was just this one tiny thing. Never mind if there were 100 other things leading up to it. She's not allowed to bring those up, lest she be accused of throwing things in his face. There is a big difference between, in an argument with your significant other, bringing up previous examples to support your current claim, and actually throwing shit in their face. Like as an example, if you try to talk to your partner about, hey, it really bothers me that you didn't wish me happy birthday yesterday, and they respond with, well, I don't like the fact that I had to take the garbage cans out yesterday. That's throwing unrelated and random shit in your face to change the direction of the conversation to make them no longer the villain. Or if they just respond with, oh, so I'm the villain? That doesn't sound like that's what's happening here. It sounds like you're unwilling to split things evenly, and when she brought that up, now it's, oh, you're just throwing random stuff in my face now. No, that's completely related. It actually is beginning to scare me how much relationship topics and healthy ways to maintain a relationship, those forms of communication and those terms are now being weaponized to further mistreatment. Like applying it as it's my boundary that you don't bring up things I did in the past. That's not a boundary, you're just weaponizing this to make it so that way you can't be held accountable. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for privately asking my friend about the paternity of her children? Saw another post that reminded me of this situation. A few years ago, my close childhood friend gave birth to triplets. Her husband is a light black man. Of the three, two were the same skin tone as her husband, and the third was much darker. The skin tones made me a little suspicious that her husband might not be the father. I pulled her aside privately and asked her seriously if her husband was the father. She didn't even listen or answer rationally. She just freaked out at me and acted super insulted and kicked me out. I reached out to her husband and told him about her reaction and told him he should get a paternity test. And he called me an asshole and blocked me. Neither has spoken to me since. I've always thought that they dramatically overreacted and were probably hiding something because of their responses, but they're still married and sometimes I feel bad about what happened. I just felt a lot of empathy for her husband because I would be devastated if I wasn't confident that I was the father of my future children. Was I an asshole for asking privately? Edit, okay, I get it, I'm an asshole. I want to make it clear that I didn't think the triplets had different fathers. I'm not an idiot. I thought it was possible, given the skin tone of the third triplet, that all three were fathered by a darker man, and the first two were a bit lighter because my friend was very fair. Damn, she was really upset that I accused her of cheating on her husband. Why is she like this? Is she hiding something? I think her reaction was pretty overblown when I accused her of cheating on her husband. And, he also reacted pretty poorly as well. So obviously, both of them are hiding something. And it's not the fact that I'm an idiot. I'm not an idiot. Hey, a quick little hot tip here. Just because you ask something in private doesn't automatically mean that it's not going to cause any harm or damage. This actually, though, because of the fact that just OP doesn't know a damn thing about genetics, reminds me of just a massive personal pet peeve of mine. Is when someone in science class in high school or middle school will just be like, when are we actually going to use this? Like, you may not use it in your day-to-day basis, sure, but at least this is helping you build the actual grounds for reality so you can understand and comprehend problems that come your way in the future and be able to understand what may or may not be false information. Like on TikTok or Twitter, every now and then I encounter some post where it's like, this man just discovered infinite energy. They're fucking like putting rubber bands on like a propeller and spraying a WD-40. The comments are like, make sure this man doesn't get assassinated by the CIA. It's like, that's not infinite energy. You're just relying on the elasticity of rubber in WD-40. Friction's gonna overtake it eventually and it's gonna stop. Like, come on. I gotta be careful because these kind of rants will just kind of keep going, and an Am I the Devil video will end up having a 5-minute intermission about how much it pisses me off that we're not actively pursuing fusion, but China is, and Europe is, but America's not. Like, we have the power to take the actual heavens themselves, the stars that blot out the night sky, and enslave them and bend them to our will, but no! We're not gonna do that because it'd be too efficient, and it wouldn't make enough money. Posted by Outro? This post is posted by Outro, and it says, did you know that you can get 10% off with gamer subs if you use code OZ at checkout? That's pretty cool. Did you also know that you can get free samples for free? And they also have free shipping? That's right, it literally costs you nothing to try Gamer Subs, at least for a little bit. They send a couple sample packs your way, and you can go and you can give them a shot. And if you like them, you should come back and use code EYES at checkout. Please! Someone's gotta feed my baby lemon creature. He requires nothing but the purest of powdered forms of caffeine content. And honestly, the more that you guys buy, the more that I can get from Gamer Subs so he can keep shoveling into his little lemon hole thingamabob. I think it's a face, but I can't really tell. Hush now. He's getting cranky because you haven't purchased any Gamer Subs using code EYES at checkout, so you should probably get on that before he starts screaming again. Little freak. Hush now, you have a tub of bowberry. You should enjoy it. Anyways, code EYES at checkout, or else you'll be forced to make a lemon puree smoothie.